Yo, what is up guys? And today we're going to be talking about the best characters you can bring to DokiDoki for Hell 3, Hell 4, and Inferno. Now in the past I did make a DokiDoki guide, but that was mostly to focus on the early and mid game. Now we're going to be talking about what characters you should be building to get into the later stages. I have Inferno on auto using a Romoka comp, and you're going to see that people have a ton of different team comps that they use. So as you can see here, I compiled it into a tier list. Now, I didn't just follow the rankings and put the unit I see the most. I have a lot of reasonings for these characters being where they are, just because some characters you can only use in certain situations, and they need like certain gear requirements, which might be crazy for some units over some others. So you can see we have main DPS, CC buffer, defense down, and sustain. This is the team comp that most people run. You just run one of each, and you're going to see the units at the top are going to be stronger than the ones below. Now keep in mind, this is just my own opinion, but I've seen a lot of DokiDoki runs and have been monitoring the leaderboards and tested out a lot of characters, so I kind of think that this is going to be pretty accurate for the most part. As for the main DPS, once you get into the later stages, Romoka is very good, especially on worse gear, but you're going to start to see that Giada becomes super powerful, especially when you have a Lily. In longer fights, she does a ton of damage, so if you're not playing to one-shot and speed clear, which you're not going to really do in Inferno until a lot later on, then Giada actually does more damage, but Romoka does actually make your runs pretty safe if you can get her to one-shot the first wave. One-shotting the first wave with Romoka isn't the hardest thing in the world, but it does require some time and investment. You're going to have to run her on Count, the Shell, and you're also going to have to run her on Fury and Kenai, or Fury and Momentum, so there's a lot of farming and prep you have to do when you're going to one-shot the first wave with her. Giada makes it so that you don't have to one-shot the first wave, but she also requires some pretty insane gear. You're going to have to run her on Kenai and Fury, or Momentum and Fury, and also you're going to have to run her on the Shell Revelation. Now below them we have Messiah and Rosa. These units can clear Inferno as well. A lot of people see Messiah a lot, but don't trust those Messiahs, because even if you see Messiah on the leaderboard, guys, there's like only a handful of people that actually use him in Inferno content, and you have to left click it and see the stats. Actually, I'll show you guys for you. So if we go back to my screen here, if I go to, let's just see any, let's just look at any Messiah. Look at this guy's stats, by the way. This is what you need on Messiah to clear Inferno, okay? So every time people are like, oh, Messiah's on the leaderboards, you can clear with him, I'm gonna build him for Inferno. Look at this guy's stats. He's also max dupes, so he's getting 10% extra damage while taking 10% less damage, and it doesn't even show up in your stats. We can just look at this guy's as well. 5 out of 5 max dupes. See? So you can see what I'm saying. This is why I can't rank any higher for Messiah, because this guy, like the people that run him have like the most insane gear and have max dupes. So that's why he isn't on the same level as Giada and Romoka, even though you might see him in some of the faster clears. And alongside that, we have Rosa. So Rosa is single target damage, so she kind of is doo-doo in DokiDoki. Very good in Aurora, but she just takes way too long to kill stuff. And if you take too long to kill in DokiDoki, it becomes very scary, and there's a lot of RNG. Now tier below them, we have Tiamat, Rahu, and Rin. Blue Rin. Blue Rin's actually surprisingly good. Honestly, I'd probably put her a little bit higher than Rahu and Tiamat. She's like the only free-to-play option like from the SRs that you can use. So if you guys are lacking all of these, then you can use Rin. But honestly, you shouldn't be lacking any of these, like, or at least all of these, because you guys should have used your targeted selector, right? So in some cases, you will be missing all of these because you used your targeted selector on something else. If that's the case, then you can use Rin. But preferably, you want to use Romoka or Giada if you have them. Otherwise, you're going to see that you're going to have a bit of an issue going from Hell to Inferno. Next, we have CC characters. So number one by far is Kazuya the Reverie. This character is so broken. She has a sleep, which is very good. It breaks the shield on all the mobs. If you don't CC the ads, they get very tanky. And she also has attack down, which is super broken. I don't know why she has a random attack down, but it makes her S3 so strong, especially because it's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is insane, right? So she's like the best CC'er just because her S3 is like always up, and you're just permanently attacking down and breaking the shield. Below that, we have Mio. Mio is going to be used in the fastest teams because she has a turn meter steal. So the way you do it is you S3 with Mio on the opener, and then basically you allow all your other supports to take a turn. But in standard clears, Mio is not going to be nearly as good as Kazuyo. So I definitely don't recommend using Mio over Kazuyo. If you decide to use Mio for your DokiDoki team, pair them together, like run 2 CCs together, because Mio cannot solo CC. She's more for like one-shot comps and stuff like that. And below them we have Lilith and Kraken. So Lilith and Kraken are okay options, but I'd stay away from them. If you find that Kazuo isn't doing enough CC for some reason, you can bring Kraken. He's a good free-to-play option, but you know, Kazuo just does way more CC, like way more CC, and she should be able to solo CC for you. It's probably just a gear issue if she's not able to do it for you. Next we have the buffers. So in the top of the top, we're gonna have Freya, Lily, and Chiaki the Echo. Chiaki the Echo is a very good free-to-play option if you guys don't have Freya or Lily. I don't think she's as good as those two, but she's like on a similar level. That's why I have her up here. And the reason why she's so good is because you can max out her skills very easily, and when she's maxed out, she cycles very quickly, which makes her very good. And the fact that she dispels your team is very nice as well for defense breaks, so you don't randomly get one shot. Up tier below them we have Yang and Beyontin. These are mostly going to be used for one-shot comps. If you're not like one-shotting the first wave in a team comp, they're not going to be that much of use. But they're still pretty decent. Yang especially you can use in standard comps more so than Beyontin. Beyontin is kind of a character where you kind of have to one-shot stuff or you're going to like not win with her. So that's why she's here. And then for the tier below that we have Silence, I think that's how you pronounce it, Tsukio and DokiDoki. These characters are also decent. You can use them in Inferno, but I wouldn't recommend them. They're not going to be as good as other characters if you have them, but if you are forced to use them for some reason because you don't want to use Chiaki the Echo, you can use them if you want. Now for defense down, there's only two options. It's going to be Kloss and Gray. You really want this so that you can, you know, with Romoka, one-shot the first wave or do as much damage as you can. And with Giada, AoE defense break just makes her do a crap ton more damage, right? Just any DPS wants defense down. So Kloss is the best option because not only does she have an AoE defense down, she has that hacking progress, which will make your team do more damage and the ads will do less damage to you. And then you also can actually turn cycle very quickly with her S2, and she has speed down, which makes her super strong. So she's the best by a decent amount. And then below her we have Gray. Gray's still a solid option, mostly because the crit chance buff is so nice when gearing your DPS. You can put more of your substats and other stats into damage, which makes it easier to one-shot. And also he does a decent amount of damage, so you can actually use him as like a sub DPS. The problem is he does need a lot of effect accuracy if you build him as your defense downer, especially in Hell and Inferno, so you can't invest that much damage into him, so his damage does feel a little lackluster once you get to later stages. Now for sustain, I definitely recommend running a sustain if you can. There's two top tier ones, Valerian and Linglo. It's really up to you. I think Valerian's better because the way DokiDoki works, if you're running a full green team, let's say like Romoka, Kazuo, like Freya and Gray, for example, all green, like these four are all green. Whatever character you bring that's not green is gonna get targeted more. So Valerian is very good at this because she is innately super tanky, and also you're gonna bring her on Artisan, so when she does proc it, she gets so much defense, and she just is really hard to kill. So that's why I like Valerian a lot. Lingno's also very good if you're planning to do very long fights. Just keep in mind that if she does get like hit a lot, she can randomly die, so it's kind of sus. But she's still a very solid choice. Sonya is a pretty okay free-to-play option as well if you don't have Valerian. And then Dorothy is like kind of hot trash, but I put her here just cause there's not a lot of sustained characters anyways. So yeah, you can use Dorothy if you really want to make it hard for yourself. Yeah, these are the characters that I think are good for Inferno and Hell for DokiDoki. I might be missing like one or two that some people run randomly, but for the most part, this is what most people are gonna run, and I think the tier list is pretty accurate in my opinion. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any differing opinions. You think some characters should be moved, or I'm missing a character or two. I'm very interested in what you guys have to say, and I'll see you guys next video.